Good morning, everyone. All right, we are starting chapter 5, and our first lesson is on ratios. So if you are at home today, sick or quarantined or couldn't make it to school or just want to review, here are our notes on ratios. So make sure that you split your screen on your iPad. Make sure you have these notes uploaded, and you should be filling in your notes as you're watching the video. All right, first of all, definition, what is a ratio? A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. A quantity is a number. A comparison of two quantities. And we're going to talk about different ways that we can compare. So ratios can be written in 3 different ways. The first way is with a colon. You probably see that in your reading, in your books, in a newspaper, in a magazine. So that is what a colon looks like. The second way that a ratio can be written is with a fraction bar. We all know what a fraction bar is. We've used those a lot this year. And then the third way that we can write a ratio is simply writing the word to. When we're talking about the numbers in a ratio, each number in the ratio is referred to as a term. All right, so directions over here, it says to write the ratio of lightning to hearts, hearts to smileys, lightning to smileys, smileys to lightning. And so before we start, I'm going to go ahead and count to see how much I have of each. So I'm going to make myself a little key. I would suggest doing this anytime you're comparing figures like this. Go ahead and make yourself a key. Otherwise, you're going to have to keep going back and recounting each item to solve each problem. So first, I'm going to count my smileys. So I've got 1. Whoop, that's not very pretty. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 smileys. I'll choose a different color. I will do blue for the lightning bolts. I've got 1, 2, 3 lightnings. And I will do my hearts in red, just so everything stands apart. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hearts. Okay. So I have 6 smileys, 3 lightnings, and 4 hearts. All right, so it is time to write our ratios. So we're going to write the ratio in 3 different ways. Lightning to hearts. If the word lightning comes first, the number of lightning has to come first in the ratio. So lightning is 3, and I can use a colon. 2 hearts. I have 4 hearts. So that ratio is read 3 to 4. I could also write 3 fraction bar 4, which is also read 3 to 4. Or I can say 3 to 4. The ratio of lightning to hearts is 3 to 4. All right, let's try hearts to smileys. So I have 4 hearts. If the word hearts comes first in the words, in the question, the number of hearts has to come first in our answer. So I could either use a colon. I have 6 smileys. Now, we always have to reduce ratios to lowest terms. So 4 to 6, 4 and 6 are both divisible by 2. So that answer is going to have to reduce to 2 to 3. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my first ratio would be 2 to 3. My second ratio with a fraction bar would be 2 to 3. And my third ratio using the word 2 would also be 2 to 3. Lightning, 2 smiles. So I have 3 lightning, and I have 6 smileys. So 3 to 6, 3 and 6 are both divisible by 3. So if I divide 3 by 3, I get 1. And if I divide 6 by 3, I get 2. Now this is not a fraction, it is a ratio, but we also have to reduce to lowest terms. So 1 to 2, 1 to 2, or 1 to 2. Those are your 3 choices of how to write your answers. Smileys to lightning. So I have 6 smileys and 3 lightning. So again, 6 and 3 are both divisible by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Notice we're doing the opposite of what we just did above. The last one was lightning to smileys. This one is smileys to lightning. So you have to make sure that you're writing your numbers in the correct order. So 2 to 1. Remember, these are not fractions, so we are not simplifying that to 2. That has to stay 2 to 1. And this last one is 2 to 1. Okay, so some important rules down here at the bottom of the page that we need to pay attention to when we're working with ratios. Rule number 1, always reduce ratios just like fractions. Ratios are not fractions, but the math that we do to reduce them will be very similar. So just like it says here, 2 to 4 would be 1 to 2 when it is in simplest form. So we would divide 2 by 2 to get 1, and we would divide 4 by 2. So that would reduce to 1 to 2. Very important rule. Order matters. So 1 to 3 is different than 3 to 1. Remember when we were working back up here writing the ratios, I said you have to pay attention to the order of the words. For that first one, since lightning came first, I had to write the number 3 first. And the word hearts came second, so I had to write the number 4 second. All right, rule number 3. Don't change improper ratios to mixed numbers. So the ratio of 4 to 3 stays and does not change to 1 1/3. So if you ever have, let's say I have 4 dogs to 3 cats, that is not the fraction 4/3. I am comparing the number of dogs that I have to the number of cats that I have. I don't have 1 1/3 animals. I have 4 dogs and 3 cats. Okay, so we cannot simplify that. If it looks improper, it's going to stay improper because it's a ratio. Okay, last rule. Equivalent ratios are just like equivalent fractions. So for example, 1 to 3 is equal to 2 to 6, and 3 to 9, and 4 to 12. So if I write these in fraction forms, you guys are going to find out very quickly that my preferred method for writing a ratio is using the fraction bar, because when you do have to reduce a ratio, it's much simpler to reduce it if it looks like a fraction. So 1 to 3 is equal to 2 to 6, is equal to 3 to 9, is equal to 4 to 12. All of those are equal to each other. All right, so remember the 3 ways to write a ratio are with a colon, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so I can highlight our colon. Okay, so that symbol that I just highlighted over there is your colon. We can also write the word 2, 2, 2, 3. So simply use the word 2, or with a fraction bar. So we all know what the fraction bar is. So usually if you're going to write that with a fraction bar, that 2 would be on the top and the 3 would be on the bottom. Okay, so this is why we're learning all this fun math this year, so we can solve problems. Number 1, 14 of the 30 students in a class have a cat. Write this as a ratio. Okay, let's go back and look at our numbers again. 14 of 30 students in class have a cat. Write this as a ratio. So 14 to 30. Now, those are both even numbers. We know that even numbers are always divisible by 2. So if I divide 14 by 2, I get 7. And 30 divided by 2 is 15. So that answer would be either 7 to 15, 7 to 15 with a colon, or you could write 7 to 15 using the word 2. What is the ratio of students who have a cat to students who do not? Got to think carefully about this one. What is the ratio of students who have a cat to students who do not? So going back to that first question, I know that 14 students have a cat. I know that there are 30 students in the class. Well, if there are 30 students in the class and 14 have a cat, then we're going to subtract those. So 16 do not have a cat. 14 have a cat and 16 do not. Well, those are both divisible by 2. So 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. So that final answer would be 7 to 8. The ratio of boys to girls in a school musical is 3 to 4. If there are 70 students total in the musical, how many are boys? Okay, we have a lot of information that we need to think about in this problem. The ratio of boys to girls in a school musical is 3 to 4. When you are reading the words in the problem, the order of the words has to match the order of the numbers. So what I mean by that is because the word boys came first in the words, the word boys is attached to the number 3. Since the word girls came second, girls is attached to the number 4. Boys to girls is 3 to 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write 3 boys to 4 girls. The ratio of boys to girls in a school musical is 3 to 4. If there are 70 students total in the musical, how many are boys? Well, the first thing I'm thinking about, if our musical only had 3 boys and 4 girls in it, how many students would that be in the musical? Well, 3 plus 4 is 7 students. So now I'm thinking, it says, what if there are 70 students? If there are 70 students in the musical, how many boys are there? So now I'm thinking, how do I get from the number 7 to the number 70? Well, 7 times 10 is 70. So if I multiply 3 boys times 10, that would give me 30 boys. And if I multiply 4 girls, if I have 10 times the amount of girls, that would be 40 girls in the play. So now if I add 30 boys plus 40 girls, that would get me to my total of 70 students in the musical. So how many boys would there be? 30 boys. How many are girls? 40 girls. All right, last one. What if there were 140 total students in the musical? How many are girls? Okay, so let's take what we had done before. We do not have to start all over. I'm going to take right where we were. We were at 30 boys to 40 girls. And we know that 30 plus 40 is 70 students in the play. Now the question is, what if there are 140 students in the play? So I'm thinking, how do I get from 70 to 140? Well, I'm thinking about the numbers 7 and 14. I know that 7 times 2 is 14. So 70 times 2 is 140. So I'm going to have to double the amount of boys and double the amount of girls in the play. So if I start back with my 30 boys and I do 30 times 2, that gives me 60 boys. And if I double the amount of girls, 40 times 2 is 80 girls. So let's focus on these numbers. 60 boys plus 80 girls. Is 60 plus 80 140? Check. What if there are 140 total students in the musical? How many are girls? 80 girls. Final answer, 80 girls. All right. Have a good day and email me with questions. See